behalf of the government. And also
Deputies,
the
third session of the 13th National People's Congress has scheduled attendance of 2,956. Today, we have actual attendance of 2,897, 59 absent. The number of actual attendance is up to strength in accordance with the law. Now I declare the third session of the 13th National People's Congress of the People's Republic of China is inaugurated. Please all rise and sing the national anthem. Fellow deputies, the COVID-19 epidemic is a major health emergency recognized as having spread fastest, caused the most extensive infection, and proved the hardest to contain since the founding of New China. During the hard fight against the COVID-19 epidemic, a group of medics, officials, people at the primary level, and other people danger or even sacrifice their lives. And also many patients lost their lives. Here, I would like to pay tribute and condolences to the deceased. Now let's observe a moment of silence. Please be seated. Fellow deputies, for today we have 5 items on the agenda. Now let's begin with the first one, to review the government work report. Now, let's give the floor to Premier Li Keqiang of the State Council.
各位代表
Fellow deputies,
现在我代表
on
国务院
behalf of the State Council,
向大
I
会
will now
报告
report to you
政府
on
工
the
作
work of the government.
请予审议
I ask for your deliberation and
请全国
approval.
政协委
I
员
also ask members of the National Committee of the CPPCC
这
for
次
your
新
comments.
冠肺炎疫情
The COVID-19
是新中
epidemic
国成立以来
is
我国遭遇
the
的
fastest
传
spreading,
播速度最快、感染范
most
围
extensive,
最广、防
and
控难
most
度最大
challenging
的
public health emergency China has encountered since the
在以
founding
习
of the
近平
People's
同志为核
Republic.
心的党中
Under the
央
strong leadership of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core,
和
and
广大
through
人
the
民
hard
群
work
众
and
艰苦卓
sacrifice
绝
our
并
nation,
付出牺牲，疫情防
we
控
have made
取得
major
重大战略，
strategic achievements in our response to COVID-19.
疫情尚未结
At
束，
present,
发展
the
任务
epidemic has not
异
yet
常
come
艰
to
巨
an end. While the
要
tasks
努
we
力把
face is
疫
promoting
情造成的
development
损失降
are
到最低。
immense. We must
努力
redouble our
完成
efforts to minimize the
全年
losses resulting
经济
from the
社会
virus
发展
and fulfill the
目标
targets
任务。
and tasks for economic and social development
一，
this year. First,
2019
a
年
review of our
和
work
今
in
年以
2019
来
and
工作回顾，
the first few months of
去
2020.
年我国发展
In pursuing
面
development
临
last
诸多
year,
困难挑战，
China faced many
世界
difficulties
经
and
济增
challenges.
速低迷，
World economic growth was
国际
weak,
经贸摩擦加
international
剧。
economic and trade
国
frictions
内经济下
intensified,
行，压
and
力
downward
加大。
pressure on the domestic
以习
economy
近平同志
grew.
为核心的党中
The
央
party central committee with
团结
Comrade Xi
带领
Jinping at its
全国
core
各
rallied
族
the
人民
Chinese people
攻坚克难，
and led them
完
in
成
surmounting
全
difficulties
年
and
主要目标
accomplishing
任务，
the year's main
为
targets
全面
and
建成小
tasks,
康社会
thus
打下
laying the
决定
crucial
性基础。
foundation needed to reach the goal of building a moderate prosperity society in all respects.
经济运行
The
总
economy
体
remained stable
国
overall.
内生产总值达到
GDP reached
99.1
99.1 trillion yuan, representing a
6.1%
6.1% increase over the previous year.
就业
Around
1352万
13.52 million new
调查
urban
失
jobs
业
were
率
added, and the
在
surveyed unemployment rate was
5.3
below
下，居民
5.3%.
消费价格
Consumer
上涨
prices rose
2.9%，
by
国际收
2.9%.
支基
A
本
basic equilibrium was maintained in the balance of payments. The economic structure continued to improve, and development priorities of regions are better aligned. Total retail sales of consumer goods exceeded 40 trillion yuan,
持续
and
发挥
consumption
主要
continued
拉动
to
作
serve
用。
as the main
先进
engine
制造
driving growth.
现
Advanced
代服务业
manufacturing and modern
较快
services
增长
registered rapid
粮食
growth.
产量
Green
保持
output
在
was capped
1.3
above
万亿斤
650 million metric tons.
常住人口城镇化率
Permanent urban
首
residents,
次
for the
超过
first time,
60%
exceeded 60% of the
重大区域战
population.
略
Progress
深入
was made implementing major development
发展
strategies
新动
for
能
regions.
不断
New
增强
growth drivers
科技创
became
新
stronger.
取
A
得
number
一
of
批
major
重大
innovative achievements were made in
新
science
兴
and
产业
technology.
持续
Emerging
壮大
industry continued to
传统
grow,
产业
upgrading in
加快
traditional
升级
industries
大规模
accelerated.
万
Business
创新
startups and
深入
innovation
开展
continued to surge
企业
nationwide with
数量
an
日均
average
竞争
net
1万
increase of over 10,000 businesses
改革开
per
放
day.
迈出重要
Major headway was made in
供给侧
reform and
结构
opening
性
up.
改革
Supply
继续
side
深化
structural
重要
reform was
领域
further
改革
advanced, and
取得
breakthroughs
新突
in
破
reform were
减
made in key
税降
areas.
费
We cut taxes and fees
2.36
by
万亿
2.36 trillion
原定
yuan,
的
going
近
well beyond our
2万亿
target
元
of
规
2
模
trillion yuan.
制造业和小
With
微企业
manufacturing and
受
micro and
益
small businesses benefiting
政府机构
most.
改革
The reform
任务
of
完成
government bodies were
放管服改
completed.
革
Reform
纵
to
深推
streamline
进
administration, dedicated
设
power,
立
improve
科创
regulation services
共
were
建
steadily
一带一路
advanced.
取得新
Star
成效
market was established and
出
joint
台
effort to
外
pursue
资商
BRI
投
yield
资
fresh
法实
results.
施
Regulation for the
增设
implementation of the
上海
foreign
自贸
investment
区
law were adopted, and
试验
China
区
Pillar
新
Free
片
Trade
区
Zone
外
was
资
established.
外贸
Foreign trade and investment remain
三大攻
stable.
坚战取得关键进展，
Pivotal
农村
progress was
贫困
achieved in the
减
three
少
critical battles.
1107
Decisive
万
achievements were
贫
made
困
in
发生
poverty
率下降
alleviation. The rural
1%。
population was reduced by
脱贫攻坚
11.09
取得决定
million, and the poverty headcount ratio fell to 0.6%. Pollution prevention and control continued with a further reduction in the discharge of major pollutants and overall improvement in the environment. The financial sector remains stable. Living standards continue to improve. Per capita disposable personal income topped 30,000 yuan. Basic old age insurance, health insurance, and subsistence allowance standards were raised. Further progress was made in the construction of urban government subsidized housing and the rebuilding of dilapidated houses in rural areas. The number of students in compulsory education receiving living allowance increased by almost 40%, and enrollment at the vocational college grew by 1 million. We celebrated the 70th anniversary of the founding of PRC. This occasion has inspired a strong sense of patriotism among all Chinese people, creating a powerful force that will bring great victories for socialism with
我们加强
Chinese
党风廉
characteristics
政
in the
建
new
设，
area. We'll
扎
work
实
to
开
improve
展
party conduct and
不忘
build
初心
a clean
牢
government,
记使命
start initiatives to raise awareness of the
严格
need to
落
stay
实
true to
中
the
央
party
8项规定，
spirit
持续纠
and
正
the
思
founding
路
mission,
为
strictly observe the
基
Central
层
Party
松绑
leadership's 8 decisions on improving
中
work
国特
conduct,
色
continue
大
to
国外
address the
成功
practice of formality for the
成功
state,
举办第二
hedonism,
届
bureaucratism,
一带一路
and
国际高峰论
extravagance.
坛
We achieve fruitful outcomes in pursuing China's major
习近
country
平主席等党和国家
diplomacy
领
with
导人
success host the second BRI forum.
出席
President
20
Xi
国家
and other party
领导
and
人
state
峰会
leaders visit
金
many
砖国
countries
家
and
领导
attend
人
major
峰会
international events,
亚
including
信
G20, the
上海合
BRICS
作组织
Summit
峰会
of the
东亚合作
Conference
领
on
导人
Interaction
系列
and Conference
中
Building,
亚
Confidence
领导人
Building,
会
the
中日韩
SCO,
领导
the
人
East
会
Asia Leader
重
Meeting,
大
as well as the China
积
EU
极
Leader
参与
Meeting
全
and the
球
China-Japan
治理
ROK
体制
Leaders
建设
Meeting.
和改
Will
革
play an active role
推
in the
动
development and
构建
reform of the
人
global
类
governance
命运
system and promoted the building of a
经济
human community with a shared
人
future.
文交流
We successfully pursue economic diplomacy and the cultural and
为
people-to-people
促进世界
exchanges.
和平
China
发
made
展
an important
做出了
contribution to the
重要
advance of
贡献
world peace and development.
各位代表，
Fellow deputies,
新冠疫情
since the
新冠肺
coronavirus
炎疫情发生后，
first
党中
emerged,
央将疫
the
情
Party
防控
Central
作为
Committee
头
has
等
made
大
its
事
containment the top
习近平
priority.
总书记
General
亲自
Secretary Xi
亲
putting
自部署，
the
坚持把人民生命
health
安
and the
全
safety
和
of our
身体健
people
康
before
放在
everything
第一位
else, has personally taken
在
charge
党
and
中央领导
planned
下
our
中央
response.
应对疫情
Under the
工作
leadership
领
of the
导
Party
小组
Central Committee,
及
the
时
Central Leading Group for COVID-19
中央
response
指
has
导
made
组
timely
加强
decisions and plans.
指
The
导
Central
领
Guidance
导
Group has
国务院
provided
联防
effective
联控
guidance
机
and
制
supervision.
很
The
出
State
色
Council
各地
Interagency
区
Task
各部
Force
门
has
尽
coordinated
职
response
尽责
efforts. All
社会各
localities
方
and
面
the government
全
departments
面
have
全
fulfilled
力
their
支持
respective duties, and people
开
from
展
every walk of life
疫情
have
防
given
控
their full
人民战
support.
争
Together, we have waged an all-out people's war
广大
against the virus.
医务人员
Our
英
medical
勇
workers have fought with
人民解
courage.
放军
Our
指战
services men and
勇
women
挑
have
共
shouldered
担
heavy
科技工
responsibilities.
作者
Our
协
scientists
同
and
共
researchers have joined
社
forces
区
in order to
工作
find a cure.
公安
Our
干部
community workers, police
基层
men
干
and
部
women,
新闻
officials
工作者
working at the primary
志愿
level,
者
media personnel,
坚
and
守岗
volunteers have stood
快
fast
递
at their post.
环卫
Our delivery men
抗
and
疫
women,
物资
our sanitation
生
workers,
产
and the
运输
people
人
who
员
in charge
不辞
of
劳动
transport emergency
亿
supply
万
have
普通
continued
劳
their
动
work with dedication.
默默奉献
Hundreds of millions of other
武
workers
汉人民
outside of the
湖
spotlight
北人民
have also worked
坚
really
韧
hard.
不拔
In Wuhan City and the
社
Hubei
会各界
province, the people have
和
carried
港澳
on
台
with
同胞
fortitude
侨
and
胞
resilience,
捐
while people from
款
all
捐物
sectors of
中
society
华儿
and
女
our fellow
风雨同舟
compatriots in
守
Hong Kong,
望
Macau,
相
and
助
Taiwan and
筑起了
overseas have
抗击
made
疫情的
generous
巍
donations,
峨长城
both monetary and in kind. Through all these efforts, all the sons and the daughters of the Chinese nation have stood together in the most trying of time and built a great wall of
在疫情
solidarity
防控
against epidemic.
我们按照
Responding to
坚
the
定
Central
信心
Party leadership's
同
call
舟
to
共
stay
济
confident, come
科
together
学
in
防疫
solidarity,
精准
adopt a
实测的
science-based
总要
approach,
求
and take targeted measures.
抓紧
We
抓
have
实
carried
抓
out
细
all
各项
out work in solid
及时
and
采取
the
应
fine
急措
manner.
施
We prompt
新冠
adopt
肺炎
containment
实
measures,
行
treating
甲类防疫
COVID-19 as a Class A
各地
infectious
启动
disease, and
重大
activating
突发公共
a
卫生
Level
事件
1 public
一级
health
响
emergency response
坚
in
决
all
打赢
localities.
武汉
We have achieved a
武汉
decisive victory in the
并取得
battle to
决定
defend
进程
Wuhan and Hubei
通过
province
果
by
断
firmly
实施
implementing strict
严
control
格管控
measures.
措施
relying the support of the entire country, dispatching over 40,000 doctors and nurses, rapidly increasing the number of hospital beds and ensuring the availability of medical supplies. We continuously refined the diagnosis and treatment plans, incorporated traditional Chinese medicine into treatment, and spare no effort in the treatment of patients, thus maximizing the cure rate and minimizing the mortality rate. We extended the Spring Festival holiday nationwide, postponed the spring semester, facilitated flexible resumption of work, and staggered the commute times. We have worked out the society-wide prevention and control efforts and stick to 4 early. And we have also controlled the sales of infection, effectively curbed the spread of the virus. Intensive efforts have been made to develop drugs, vaccine, and testing reagents. We also expand production of the PPE and ensure that supply and price stability of daily necessity and maintain smooth transportation, as well as stable supply of coal, electricity, oil, and gas. In response to changing COVID-19 dynamism, we have adopted regular prevention and control measures.
In the face of the global spread of COVID-19, we promptly set up a shield against the possible import cases, and we have provided increased care and support for Chinese citizens overseas. With an open, transparent, and responsible attitude, China has actively engaged in international cooperation, provided timely information, actively sharing prevention technologies and practices, and helping other countries with their response efforts. As a developing country with 1.4 billion people, it's only by overcoming enormous difficulties that China has been able to contain COVID-19 in such a short time, while also ensuring our people's basic needs. Our success has come at a great price. The economy posted negative growth in the first quarter of this year. The daily life and work have been greatly affected. However, life is invaluable. This is a price we must pay, and a price worth paying. We have also promoted economic and social development while continuing to advance epidemic control, and lost no time in resuming work and production when appropriate. We have rolled out 90 policy measures in 8 categories. We have provided assistance to enterprises to stabilize employment, cut and exempted taxes and fees, exempted all tolls on highways, reduced the cost of energy use, and granted subsidies loans. We have approved the early issuance of special bonds by local governments according to procedures. We kept up with the spring farming schedule and continue to critical battle against poverty. We have provided assistance to people working on the front line of COVID-19 control, to people in difficulties, and double temporary price subsidies. These policies have benefited hundreds of millions of people and ensure stable supplies and prices and the resumption of work and production in a timely manner. Indeed, the Chinese economy has shown great resilience and enormous potential. Fellow deputies, we owe what we have achieved in economic and social development since last year, and in COVID-19 control this year, to the strong leadership of the NPC Standing Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, the sound guidance of Xi Jinping's thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, and the concerted efforts of the party, the armed forces, and the people of all ethnic groups in China. On behalf of the State Council, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Chinese people of all ethnic groups and to all other political parties, people's organizations, and public figures from all sectors of the society. I express heartfelt appreciation to our fellow countrymen and women in the Hong Kong and Macau Special Administrative Region, in Taiwan, and overseas. I also express sincere thanks to the government of other countries, international organizations, and friends from all over the world who have shown understanding and support for China in its endeavor to combat COVID-19. While recognizing our achievements, we are also aware of the difficulties and problems we face. The shock of the COVID-19 pandemic has sent the world economy into severe recession, disrupted industrial and supply chains, and caused a contraction in international trade and investment and volatility in commodity markets. Domestically, consumption, investment, and export have declined, pressure on employment has risen significantly. Enterprises, especially small and medium-sized business, face growth difficulties. There are increasing risks in financial sector and other areas. The budgetary imbalance of primary level governments have intensified. Also, we see formalities and bureaucracy in an acute issue. A small number of officials shirk their duties and are incapable of fulfilling them. Corruption is still a common problem in some fields. During the COVID-19 responses, many weak links have been exposed in public health emergency management, and the people have expressed their views and suggestions which deserve our attention. We must strive to improve our work and fulfill our responsibilities and make every effort to live up to the people's expectation. Second, main targets for development and the overall plan for the next stage of work. For the government to deliver this year, we must, under the strong leadership of the Party Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, do the following. We should follow the guidance of Xi Jinping's thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, implement the guiding principles of the Party's 19th National Congress and the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th plenary sessions of the 19th Central Committee in full. We should add on the party's basic theory, line, and policy. We should strengthen the 4 awareness, consolidate 4 confidence, and do the 2 upholds. We should carry out the COVID-19 control and promote economic and social development to fulfill the targets for completing the building of a moderately prosperous society in all aspects. While carrying out the regular COVID-19 control, continue to follow the general principle of pursuing progress while ensuring stability. We should pursue the supply-side structural reform as our main task and draw momentum from reform and opening up to promote high-quality development. Make progress in 3 critical battles. We should step up efforts to ensure stability on 6 fronts and maintain securities in 6 areas. To pursue the strategy expanding domestic demand, ensure economic development and social stability, accomplish the targets and tasks for winning the battle against the poverty, and to making sure that we can expand our domestic demand so this economic development and stability can be ensured so that we can bring the completion of the building of a moderately prosperous society in all aspects. At present, and for some time to come, China will still face challenges like never before. However, we have unique political and institutional strength and a strong economic foundation, as well as an enormous market potential. We also have hundreds of millions of intelligent and hardworking people. If we face challenges head-on, boost confidence in development, create strong impetus for growth, and preserve and make the most of the important periods of strategic opportunity for our development, we will be able to make it through the challenging time. The horizon of China's development are full of promise. On the basis of comprehensive assessment of the current situation, we have made proper adjustments to the targets that we were considering before COVID-19 struck. This year, we must give priorities to stabilizing employment, ensuring living standards and win the battle against poverty, achieve the goal to build a moderately prosperous society in all aspects. Over 9 million new urban jobs, a survey urban unemployment rate of around 6%, and a registered urban unemployment rate of around 5.5%, CPI increase of around 3.5%, more stable and higher quality imports and exports, and a basic equilibrium of the balance of the payments. The growth in personal income that is basically in step with economic growth, elimination of poverty among all rural residents living below current poverty line and in all poor regions, effective prevention and control of major financial risks. A further drop in energy consumption per unit of GDP and the discharge of major pollutants, accomplishment of the 13th Five-Year Plan. I would like to point out that we have not set a specific target for economic growth this year. This is because our country will face some factors that are difficult to predict. Its development due to the great uncertainty regarding the COVID-19 pandemic and the world, economy and trade environment. Not setting a specific target for the economic growth will enable all of us to concentrate on ensuring stability on the 6 fronts and security in 6 areas. We must focus on maintaining security in the 6 areas in order to ensure stability on the 6 fronts. By doing so, we will be able to keep the fundamentals of the economy stable. Maintaining security will deliver the stability needed to pursue progress, thus laying a solid foundation to deliver our goal to build a moderate, prosperous society in all aspects. We have to be clear that the efforts to stabilize employment, ensure living standards, eliminate poverty, and prevent and diffuse risk must be underpinned by economic growth. So ensuring stable economic performance is of crucial significance. We need to pursue reform and open air as a means to stabilize employment, ensure people's well-being, and achieve stable growth. We need to find a new path that enable us to respond effectively as shocks and sustain a positive growth cycle. We will pursue a more proactive and impactful fiscal policy. The deficit to GDP ratio this year is projected at more than 3.6%, with a deficit increase of 1 trillion yuan over last year. On top of this, 1 trillion yuan of government bonds for COVID-19 control will also be issued. These are extraordinary measures for an unusual time. The above-mentioned 2 trillion yuan will be transferred in full to local government. A special transfer payment mechanism will be set up to ensure that funds go directly to prefecture and county governments and directly benefit business and people. These funds should be primarily used to ensure employment, basic living needs, to protect the market entities. This includes giving support to cut taxes and fees, reduce rents and interest on loans, and increase consumption and investment. It is also important to stress that the funds are public in nature and so that no funds are allowed to be used for non-designated areas.
We will work harder to improve the compensation of fiscal spending. We will see that spending on people's basic well-being is only increased, not cut. Ensure spending in key areas and resolutely cut general expenditures. Construction of new government buildings and wasteful and excessive spending will be strictly prohibited. Governments at all levels must truly tighten their belt. The central government will take the lead by committing to negative growth in its budgetary spending with a more than 50% cut to outlays on non-essential and non-obligatory items. All types of surplus, idle and carryover funds should be taken back and will be restored and reallocated. We will see that the funds are put to better and more effective use, and we will scrutinize all expenditure items and see that every cent is used where it is needed most and where market entities and the people will feel the greatest benefit from it. We will pursue a prudent monetary policy in a more flexible and appropriate way. We will use a variety of tools such as triple R reductions, interest rate cut, and relending to enable M2 monetary supply and aggregate financing to grow at a notable higher rate than last year. We will keep the RMB exchange rate generally stable at an adaptive balanced level as we work to develop a new monetary policy instrument that can directly stimulate the real economy. It's crucial that we take steps to ensure enterprise get a loan easier and promote steady reduction of interest rates. We will strengthen the employment first policy, and we will synergize a stable employment through the coordinated use of fiscal, monetary, investment policy. Will strive to keep existing jobs secure, work actively to create new jobs, and help unemployed people find jobs. At local government, we need to overhaul or rescind excessive restrictions on employment and adopt all possible measures to bolster employment. Eliminating poverty is an obligatory task we must complete in order to build a moderately prosperous society. In all respects, we will continue to apply the current standards, taking stronger steps to implement poverty reduction measures, and ensure all remaining poor people are lifted out of poverty. Will improve and effectively utilize the mechanism for monitoring and assisting people who fall back into poverty, and we will endeavor to protect our blue sky, clear water, clean land, and meet the goal for creating battles of pollution prevention and control. Strong prevention and control measures will be taken to forestall systematic risks. Almost 5 months of this year have passed. In the next stage, we will not let up on any front of our long-term fight against COVID-19, nor will we lose any time in advancing China's economic and social development agenda. The policy we adopt should be both forceful and sustainable, and they may be adjusted as called for. We have both the resolve and ability to accomplish the targets and tasks set for this year. Third, forceful implementing macro policies to keep businesses and employment stable. To ensure employment and people's well-being, we must instill confidence in over 100 million market entities, and we must do our utmost to help enterprises, particularly SMEs, and help self-employed individuals get through this difficult time. We will further cut taxes and fees, and we will also cooperate with the current policies in conjunction with institutional arrangement to create a more enabling environment and help market entities overcome difficulties and achieve development. We will continue implementing reduction of VAT rates and the share of employees' basic old age insurance paid by enterprises, and we will make further tax and fee cuts of about 500 billion yuan. The policies introduced yearly this year that are due to expire by June will all be extended. That include the following: exempting MSMEs from contribution to basic old age insurance, employment insurance, and cancelling VAT for small-scale taxation, exempt VAT on services such as public transportation, restaurants and hotels, tourism and entertainment, and culture and sport, and also the reducing and cancelling civil aviation development fund contribution and port development fees. These were all extended till the end of this year. The payment of corporate income taxes by macro and small businesses and self-employed individuals will be postponed to next year. We expect that these measures will see additional savings of more than 2.5 trillion yuan for enterprises throughout the year. All tax and fee reduction policies must be fully implemented for our businesses so they can survive and sustain themselves and secure success. We will reduce entrepreneurship and also the production operating cost. We will also reduce electricity policies for general industries by the end of this year by additional 5%. A rate for broadband and dedicated internet access service will be cut by 15% on average. Rents for state-owned premises will be lowered or exempted, and all other types of property owners are encouraged to also reduce, waive, or defer rent payments, and they will receive policy support from the government in doing so, and will take firm steps to stop unauthorized levy of fees on enterprises. We will increase financial support, and the policy allowing SMEs also postponed to the next year by the end of March. The payments on all inclusive loans of macro and small businesses eligible for this policy should also be deferred, and other businesses facing financial difficulties can discuss similar terms with their creditors. We will encourage banks to sustainably increase credit loans, first-time loans, and loan renewals without the repayment of principal for micro and small business. The scope of the government financing guarantee will be expanded and guarantee fees will be reduced significantly. Large commercial banks should increase inclusive finance lending to micro and small business by more than 40%. We will support enterprises in increasing bond financing. We should tighten regulation and prevent funds from simply circulating in the financial sector for the sake of arbitrage. As financial institutions and businesses that are brought from the share a common stake, we encourage banks to make appropriate interest concessions. To support market entities, we must ensure that micro, small, and medium businesses should have significantly better access to loans, and that overall financing costs drop markedly. We will make every effort to stabilize and expand employment. We will increase employment support for key sectors and key groups. This year, with 8.74 million college students graduating, we need to encourage market-based employment and ensure that colleges and the government of localities where they are located provide employment services to these students on an ongoing basis. Also ensure employment for demobilized military personnel, as also adopt a policy to see rural migrant workers have equal access to employment services. We will help people with disabilities, zero employment families, and other groups facing difficulty in finding jobs. There are several 100 million workers, including casual laborers, in flexible employment in China. This year, low-income earners will be allowed to postpone the payment of their social insurance premium, and all employment-related government charges will be cancelled. We will finance skills training to stabilize employment. This year and the next, more than 35 million vocational skills training opportunities will be provided, and enrollment in vocational college will grow by 2 million. This will help more people improve their skills and secure jobs. Fourth, energizing market entities through reform and strengthening new drivers of growth. The greater the difficulties and challenges we face, the more important it is for us to go further in reform, get rid of institutional barriers, and boost internal forces driving development. We'll go forward, reform to streamline administration, dedicate power, regulation service. We'll also promote the resumption of work business activities. We will work to see that our people are able to get access via a single website and complete all procedures for starting a business online. Location restrictions on business registration apply to SMEs and also can enjoy the policies provided by the government. And we will also support all sides of business in pursuing development through cooperation with others. We conduct an impartial regulation to ensure fair competition and make sustainable efforts to create a market-oriented, law-based, and nationalized business environment. We will advance reform to promote market-based allocation. We will encourage small and medium-sized banks to replenish capital and improve governance so they can better support SMEs. We will also reform the chain stock market and pilot a registration IPO system, a rule of a flow of talents, and also will foster the technology and the data market, and thus unleash the potential of all types of production factors.
We will improve the performance of the state capital and the SOE reforms. We will launch a 3-year action plan for SOE reform. We will improve the system of the state capital regulation, intensify mis-ownership reform of SOEs. We will basically complete the task of relieving SOEs of the obligations to operate social programs and resolve their other long-standing problems. SOEs should focus on their main responsibilities and business, establish sound market-oriented operating mechanisms, and increase their core competitiveness. We will foster an enabling environment for the development of the private sector. We will see that private business have equal access to production factors and policy support. We will review relevant regulations to abolish those that unfairly differentiate enterprises according to the form of ownership. Deadlines will be set for government bodies to make overdue payments to private and small and medium business. We will foster a clean relations between the government and business and promote the healthy development and the non-public sector. We will encourage the upgrading of manufacturing and the growth of emerging industries. We will increase Medium and long-term loans to manufacturers will promote industry internet and boost smart manufacturing. New forms of business such as e-commerce, online shopping, and online services have played an important role during the COVID-19 response. In the future, more policies will be introduced in support of such business. We will advance Internet Plus initiative across the board and create new competitive strengths in the digital economy. We will boost our capacity to support the technological innovation. We will provide support for basic research and application-oriented business research and encourage companies to increase the investment in R&D. We will accelerate the development of national laboratories, restructure the system of key national laboratories, and develop private R&D institutions. Will intensify international cooperation on science and technology. International property protection will be strengthened. We will introduce an open competition mechanism to select the best candidates to lead key research projects. We will continue to encourage business startups and innovation nationwide. We will support the growth of the venture capital investment and increase guaranteed loans for startups to further unleash the creativity of various sectors. We will launch new round of pilot reforms to make innovations across the board, build more innovations and entrepreneurship demo centers, continue accommodative and potential regulations to develop the platform economy and sharing economy. Fifth, implementing the strategy of expanding domestic demand and promoting accelerating transformation of the economic growth model. The potential of China's domestic demand is enormous. We will deepen supply-side structural reform, focus our efforts on improving the people's well-being, and boost consumption and expand investment in a mutually reinforcing way. We will promote the recovery of consumption. We will stabilize employment, income growth, and ensure people's basic needs that are met to encourage and enable consumer spending. We will support the recovery and development of food and beverage, brick and mortar shops, cultural tourism, domestic services, and other consumer services. And we will promote integrated online and offline consumption. Elderly and childcare services will be developed. We will also provide services in the rural areas to expand rural consumption, apply a combination of measures to boost consumption and meet diverse demand among consumers. This year, 3.75 trillion yuan of special local government bonds will be issued, a 1.6 trillion yuan increase over last year. The proportion of special bonds that can be used as project capital will be raised, and 600 billion yuan will be embarked for investment in the central government budget. Priority will be given to new infrastructure and the new urbanization initiative and major projects, which not only boost consumption and benefit the people, but also facilitate structural adjustments and enhance the sustainability of the growth. Especially, we will develop next generation information network, expand 5G applications. We will stimulate new consumer demand and promote industrial upgrading. We will strengthen the development of a new type of organization. We will do more to improve public facilities and services in the county seats so that to meet the growing demand to work and settle in them among rural residents. We will begin to renovate 39,000 old urban residential communities and support of the installation of elevators in the residential buildings. We will redouble efforts to major transportation and water conservancy projects and increase nationwide railway development capital by 100 billion yuan. We improve market-based investment financing mechanism to support private enterprises in participating projects on an equal footing. We will steadily advance new urbanization. We will leverage the role of leading cities and the city clusters to drive overall development of their surrounding areas in an effort to foster new industry and increase employment. And we will implement city-specific policies to promote steady and healthy development of the real estate markets. Make sure that our cities places that people enjoy living and working in. We will continue to promote the Western region and full revitalization of the Northeast, the rise of the Central region, and the tribalization development of the Eastern regions. We will move forward with the coordinated development of the Beijing-Tianjin Hebei region, develop of the Greater Bay Areas, and integrated development of the Yangtze River Delta. We will advance well-coordinated environmental conservation in the Yangtze River economic belt, and overall plan will be formulated ecological protection and high-quality development in the Yellow River Basin. At the same time, we also develop the maritime economy. We will implement a package of policies to support Hubei's development, helping to ensure the employment, public well-being, and normal operations, and spurring the full recovery of economic and social activities. We will ensure more effective protection of ecosystems and environment. Priorities will be placed on curbing pollution in law-based, scientific, and cooperative way. We will intensify efforts to control air pollution in key areas and step up the construction of sewage and garbage treatment facilities. Relocation and transformation of procedures of hazardous chemical products will be accelerated. Illegal hunting and the trading of wild animals will be severely punished. We will also carry out major projects for protecting and restoring key ecosystems to promote ecological conservation. We will safeguard energy security, promote cleaner and more efficient use of coal, develop renewable energy, improve systems for the production supply of the cells of the oil, natural gas, electricity, and bolster our energy reserve capacity. 6. Achieving poverty reduction goals and work for good harvest and growth in the rural areas. We will win the fight against the poverty alleviation. We will improve the living standards of the rural workers. We will launch programs to boost consumption, the products, and support business involved in poverty alleviation, including in operation. We stabilize the employment for the rural workers to provide support for the poverty areas, and also we will provide more support to people relocated from inhospitable areas. We will deepen cooperation on poverty alleviation between the eastern and western regions and intensify assistance to targeted poor areas from central party and government departments. We will work hard to ensure that the basic needs of the poor populations are met. A poverty reduction survey will be conducted nationwide so that these people can be raised out from the poverty and move towards prosperity.
We will work to bolster agricultural production. We will keep a total crop acreage and a grain output stable, raise the multiple cropping index, increase the minimum purchase price of rice, give more rewards to major grain producing counties, and take effective measures to prevent and control major diseases and pests. The acquisition of farmland for other purposes in violation of laws and regulation will be punished, and the area of high standard crops will be increased. And we will also further rural reform, and we will also help to resume responsibilities for the rice bag and also the vegetable basket for the city mayors. For the food supply for 1.4 billion people is well within our ability. We will create more channels for rural residents to find employment and increase their incomes. We will help rural residents seek employment or start business in place close to their home, expand their work relief program, and also make sure they have a job and income when back home, and support development of skilled agricultural operations, and will invest more funds raised through special bonds, and also help to modern agricultural facilities, safe drinking waters, and improvement of living environment. This will prompt steady improvement in rural living and work conditions. 7. Promoting high standard opening up and stabilizing the overall performance of foreign trade and foreign investment. Faced with changes in the external environment, we must stay committed to opening our door wider to the world, to keep our industrial and supply chain stable, and make opening up as a catalyst for reform and development. Stabilize the overall performance of foreign trade to help business get more orders and keep our people employees on. We will increase credit supply, extend the coverage of export credit insurance, lower compliance costs for imports and exports, and support domestic scale of export products. We'll accelerate the growth of cross-border e-commerce and other new forms of business and enhance our international shipping capacity. We'll advance a new round of trials for innovative development of trading services, and also will make good preparation for the third CIIE. Work actively to expand imports and foster a large global-oriented market of a high standard. We'll step up utilization of foreign capital. Negative list for foreign investment will be significantly shortened. A negative list will be drawn up for cross-border trading services. We'll grant greater autonomy in reform up to pilot free trade zones, speed up the establishment of a free trade port in Hainan, open new ones, and integrated bonded areas in the central and western regions, and launch comprehensive drills on opening up the service sectors. We will foster an enabling market environment in which all companies, Chinese and foreign, are treated as equals and engage in fair competition. Focus on quality in the joint pursuit of BRI. Stay committed to achieving shared growth through consolidation and cooperation. Collaboration will uphold market principles and international rules. Give full scale to enterprises as the main actors to work with our BRI partners for mutually beneficial outcome. Guide the healthy development. Promote the liberalization facilitation of trade and investment. We firmly safeguard the multilateral trading regime and actively participate in the reform of the WTO. We will work for the signing of the RCEP and advance free trade negotiation with China and ROK as well as other countries, and also work with the United States implement the Phase 1 economic and trade agreement. China will continue to boost economic and trade cooperation with other countries to deliver mutual benefits. 8. Advancing reform and development of social programs to safeguard and improve living standards. Despite the difficulties we face, we must unfailingly meet the basic living needs of our people, address issues of public concern. We will enhance the public health system. We will always put life above everything else. We will reform the system for disease prevention and control, improve the mechanism for direct reporting and early warning of infectious disease, and ensure prompt, open, and transparent release of epidemic information. We will make good use of COVID-19 funds, increase input into the R&D of vaccine, medicines, and rapid testing technologies, and build more medical facilities for epidemic prevention and treatment, set up more mobile laboratories, ensure emergency supplies, and strengthen public health and epidemic prevention at the primary level, and launch extensive initiatives to improve public sanitation. We need to enhance greatly our prevention control capacity, resolutely prevent a resurgence of COVID-19, protect our people's health. And we will improve basic medical service. We will raise government subsidies for basic medical insurance for rural and non-working urbans by an average of 30 yuan per person, and be a pilot interprovincial on-the-spot settlement of outpatient bills through the medical insurance accounts. We will also provide support to the medical institutions and also promote the development of TCM and the supervision over food and drugs. We develop more equal and high-quality education. We will see the teaching in primary and secondary schools and entrance examinations for senior school, high school, and university will be well organized. We will strengthen development of boarding schools in township and town schools in county seats, and also help the kindergartner with difficulties to overcome them. We will also step up efforts to develop world-class universities and disciplines, as well as expand the enrollment of students from rural and poor areas at the universities and college, improve the mix of spending, making educational resources accessible to all our families and children. We will make a greater effort to meet people's basic living needs, increase the basic pension for retirees and the minimum the basic old age pension for rural and non-working urban residents. In our country, close to 300 million people live on pensions, so we must ensure they receive the benefits on time and in full. We will improve the system of providing preferential treatment and employment services for demobilized military personnel and ensure benefits for the families of people who have died in service of the public. We extend the coverage of unemployment insurance and see that rural migrant workers out of work who are in the scheme less than a year are all covered. Subsistence allowance will be expanded to cover all families in difficulties, and such allowance will be made promptly available to eligible urban unemployment people and migrant workers who have returned home. We will ensure assistance is provided to anyone who runs into temporary difficulties because of disaster or illness. With all these, we can ensure that all people of a disadvantaged group have their basic living needs met, and more unemployment people will have the support they need to secure their next job or start their own business. We will organize rich intellectual and cultural activities for our people. We will foster and practice core socialist value and continue to develop philosophy and social science, prize publishing, radio, film, and television, and to protect cultural relics and improve public service in the cultural sector, prepare for the 2020 Winter Olympic and Paralympic in Beijing, and make sure people access and keep fit, and also people will be fulfilled vitality and striving to pursue excellent and moral intelligence. We will create new and better ways and provide better service and support to sound development of social organization, humanitarians, and volunteer service, and protect the lawful rights and interests of women, children, elderly, and the people with disabilities, improve the system for handling public complaints, and provide the better legal aid, and also conduct the 7th population consensus. We will strengthen national security capacity building, punish crimes in accordance with law, and more effectively carry out the Peaceful China Initiative. We will strengthen accountability for workplace safety, intensify prevent efforts against flooding, fires, and earthquake, deliver quickly meteorological service, and ensure our ability for emergency rescue and disaster prevention and mitigation. A campaign to enhance workplace safety will be launched. Strong steps will be taken to prevent major serious accidents. Fellow deputies, the face of difficulty and weighty tasks, government at all levels must closely follow the Party Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core in thinking, stance, and action, and practice the people-centered development philosophy. We must enforce a full, rigorous self-discipline of the party, access law-based government administration, ensure transparency in all government affairs, and enhance our government capacity.
We should accept the oversight of People's Congress and the standing committees of the same level, and subject ourselves to democratic oversight of CPPCC, public oversight over the public opinion, auditing-based oversight will be stepped up. We will give full play to the role of the trade unions, community youth league, women's organizations, and also other people's organizations. We must readily accept the oversight of the law, supervisory bodies, and people. We must redouble efforts to build a clean government and crack down on corruption. We at all levels must take a fact-based approach to our work and keep firmly in mind that we remain the primary stage of socialism, which is the basic dimension in China's national context. We will take strong steps to address the practice of formalities for formality's sake, bureaucratism, feudalism, extravagance, and release our primary level officials from the fetters of the pointless formalities so that they give full play to their drive, and we will work to see that they can carry out their duties. We must rely closely on the people, respect the pioneering spirit of those working at the primary level, advance reform and opening up with greater force, enact the dynamism of our society, and bring together the energy and ingenuity of hundreds of millions of Chinese people. This is the source of inspiration that enables us to prevail over all difficulties and challenges. We officials must not shy away from the face of the difficulties. We must do solid work and make concerted efforts to pursue development and ensure the well-being of the people. As long as we stand together with the people through good times and bad, and continue to forge ahead, we can surely fulfill the desire of the Chinese people for a better life. This year, we will formulate the 14th five-year plan, thus drawing the blueprint for us to embark on a new journey toward the second centennial goal. We will uphold to improve the system of regional ethnic autonomy, support ethnic minorities and ethnic minority areas in accelerated development, and forge a strong sense of community among the Chinese people. We will fully implement the party fundamental policy of religious affairs and encourage religious leaders and believers to play an active part in promoting economic and social development. China cares deeply about our overseas nationals, who serve as a crucial bridge between China and the rest of the world. We will give play to the unique role of overseas Chinese nationals and their family members and relatives at home, and forge a stronger bond of attachment among those sons and daughters of the Chinese nation. Together, we can create more remarkable achievements. Since last year, we have achieved important progress in strengthening national defense and armed forces. The People's Armed Forces demonstrated fine conduct by reacting swiftly to the party's commands and shouldering heavy responsibilities in COVID-19 control. We will implement Xi Jinping's thinking on strengthening the armed forces and the military strategy for the new era. We will continue to enhance political loyalty of the armed forces, strengthen them through reform, science and technology, and training of capable personnel, and run the military in accordance with law. We uphold the party's absolute leadership over people's armed forces and implement the system of ultimate responsibility resting of the chair of the Central Military Commission. Will firmly safeguard China's sovereignty, security, and development interests, we will complete the crucial tasks laid down in the 13th Five-Year Plan for development of the armed forces, and throughout the 14th Five-Year Plan, we will deepen reforms in national defense and the military, increase our logistic equipment support capacity, and promote innovative development and defense-related science and technology. We will improve the system of national defense mobilization and ensure that the unity between military and the government and between the military and the people remains rock solid. We will fully and faithfully implement the policy of one country, two systems, under which the people of Hong Kong govern Hong Kong and the people of Macau govern Macau with a high degree of autonomy for both regions. We will establish sound legal system enforcement mechanisms for safeguarding national security in the two special administrative regions and see that the government for the two regions fulfill their constitutional responsibilities. We will support Hong Kong and Macau in growing their economies, improving living standards, and better integrating their development into China's overall development, and help them maintain long-term prosperity and stability. We will adhere to the major principles and policies on work related to Taiwan and resolutely oppose and deter any separatist activities seeking Taiwan independence. We will improve the arrangements and policies and measures encourage exchanges and cooperation between the two sides of the Taiwan Strait, further cross-strait integrate development, and protect the well-being of our fellow compatriots in Taiwan. We encourage them to join us in closing Taiwan independence. With these efforts, we can surely create a beautiful future for the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. In the face of the public health crisis, severe economic recession, and other global challenges, all countries should work together. China stands ready to work with other countries to strengthen international cooperation on COVID-19 control, promote stability in the world economy, advance global governance, and uphold the international system with the United Nations at its core and an international order based on international law. China is committed to building a human community with a shared future. China will continue to pursue peaceful development and advance friendship and cooperation with other countries as it opens wider to the world. China will remain as an important force promoting world peace, stability, development, and prosperity. Fellow deputies, the Chinese nation has never been daunted in the face of difficulties or obstacles. The Chinese people today have the ability and resolve to overcome all challenges before us. We must rally more closely around the Party Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, uphold socialism with Chinese characteristics, and followed the guidance of Xi Jinping's thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. Let us meet our challenges head-on, move determinedly forward in the fight against COVID-19 and in pursuit of economic and social development, and strive to fulfill the main targets and tasks for this year. That all of us work together with the perseverance to build China into a great modern socialist country that is prosperous, strong, democratic, culturally advanced, harmonious, and beautiful, and realize the Chinese dream of national rejuvenation.